big news today is that the jury has begun its deliberations. They wrapped without coming to a verdict. That is unsurprising. AP has the story. Jurors in Trump hush money trial end first day of deliberations after asking to rehear testimony. And then they sent another note in asking for the judge's instructions again because no one knows what the crime is. Nobody understands what's going on. Now, here's the best part. Let's start from the beginning. Jonathan Turley posting this earlier in the morning. Mershon just delivered the coup de grace instruction. He said that there is no need to agree on what occurred. They can disagree on what the crime was among the three choices. Thus, this means that they could split 4-4-4 and he would still treat them as unanimous. Now, the other day in closing arguments, we heard this from the prosecution, and I knew the prosecution would do something like this. Like, hey, you all know that Trump's a criminal. Just convict him, say he committed a crime. And the prosecution actually presents this. The judge actually agrees. We have this from Mark Levin. The grotesque trial charade gets even worse this morning. The Stalinist clown judge directed the jury that they can choose among three areas of crimes to convict the former president. 1, violations of federal election law, which no one in the courtroom is familiar with, and the judge barred Brad Smith from testifying about. 2, falsification of business records, and 3, tax violations. Of course, the issue for all of the above is the requirement of criminal intent. Furthermore, the idea that jurors can pick one of the three and they don't have to unanimously agree on which of the three is another shocking development. Moreover, the federal campaign violation has still not been defined. Now, here's where it gets good. The corporate press, of course, is playing the game where they create their own conspiracy theory and then debunk it to trick people into not realizing what's going on. The AP says posts misrepresent New York judge's instructions to jury in Trump hush money trial, claiming that the claim is that the judge told the jury they don't need to have a unanimous verdict. No, nobody said that. We're talking about the underlying crime. That's what Jonathan Turley pointed out. That's what Mark Levin pointed out. Basically, everyone pointed out that what they're saying is, if the jury says, yeah, Trump falsified a record, what is the other crime he's covering up? The judge says, you pick. It's up to you, because there's never been one. Right. They don't have one. So buried in this AP assessment, false. Mershon said that to convict Trump, the jury will have to find unanimously on each of the 34 felony counts. And then when you go down, they actually break down, well, not really. The judge told the jury to convict Trump on any given charge. To convict, they will have to find unanimously. They all must agree the former president created a fraudulent entry in the company's records or caused someone else to do so. They say the crime Trump committed or hid is a violation of New York election law, making it illegal for 2 or more conspirators to promote or prevent the election of any person to a public office by unlawful means. Mershon gave the jurors 3 possible, quote, unlawful means, aka crimes, that they can apply to Trump's charges: falsifying other business records, breaking FEC law, or submitting false information in tax return. For conviction, each juror would have to find that at least one of those 3 things happened, but they don't have to agree unanimously on which it was. This whole time we've been wondering, what is the underlying crime? They took a misdemeanor beyond the statute of limitations and said, yes, but he was concealing another crime, therefore it's now a felony and we can charge him. And everyone said, what's the underlying crime? Went, oh. And the jury can figure it out if they want, but they don't got to be unanimous. This is a rigged trial from the judge. Welcome to 2024. I'm not convinced that I think there's a decent probability Trump gets convicted.
I don't know what you do about a situation that's so convoluted. The feds don't have any kind of authority to step in. And it seems like the entire Justice Department of the state of New York is going to allow this. I mean, on its face, it seems completely and totally ridiculous. It also seems like everyone's kind of like, well, once it gets to appeals, it's going to be obviously overturned or whatever, which would be the right thing. But I'm still just like, I feel like there needs to be. I feel like there needs to be some kind of remedy to I wish there were. I feel like there should be, even if there isn't, some kind of remedy to stop this. But I don't know that there is.
It's weird that the prosecution doesn't have to be specific in the crime that they're alleging they're trying to cover up.
I feel like that's part of the Constitution.
It reminds me of that show, Whose Line Is It Anyways? And Drew Carey would always be like, where the points don't matter. Like, right. That's the prosecution right now. The crimes don't matter as long as you convict, which is obviously, to me, an abuse of the justice system. And, you're completely right. this, if tried as a misdemeanor, they couldn't have brought it after 2019, and it wouldn't come with the jail sentence. So there's this weird. It all comes down to the fact that they were trying this as a felony, but the judge just said, but just forget about the stuff that would make it a felony. You can make that up as we go along.
This is not the one that they had to change the statute of limitation. This is the one.
No.
That was the Stormy Daniels one, right?
No. This is the Stormy Daniels one.
Okay.
E. Jean Carroll was when she sued Trump.
Okay, all right. So that was finished.
They created a new law. It's
like it's all so insane.
But it's not
This
political.
is the anomalies of times we're in. It's like, none of this has ever happened before.
No.
Ever. And, I live it every day, different things. And I watch our real president and what's happening there. Can I say that? Our real president?
Well, he really was a president at one point.
Yeah,
so.
right.
Yeah. Well, he's Mr. President. I mean,
Right. But anyway, these are times where, it's like, so many nonsensical things, and you just got to look at what's the real agenda. There's another agenda if you can't make sense of it. And, I think it's backfiring, though. I really do. I talked to our president, I'll say our real president, the other day, and he talks about, all the time that this weaponizing against him, but he gets to come out there. He thinks of the positive. At least he gets to talk to worldwide media and say, and there people are seeing through all this. I mean, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. I go everywhere in the country, and they're seeing through this. So I think there's actually good that's going to come out of it eventually. Going, hey, we can't ever let this kind of stuff happen again.
But there are people that are Trump supporters saying, like normies, independents won't care. Biden, what is this? Biden's supposed to have a press conference when the verdict comes out. Is that what is that what the plan
That's what
is?
I've heard.
And of course, if that's the case, because that's the rumor going around, or it may be definitive news. I haven't checked. But if that's true, we all know what he's going to say. He's going to say Donald Trump is a convicted felon. Right. Do not vote for this man. And a lot of people are going to just be drooling into their laps, going, "Okay."
Right. Yeah. But you know what? It's like this has been going on for so long. It's like the kid that called wolf, the little boy that called wolf. It keeps going on, and people are seeing through it. And I'm not just people on the right or people on the left too. It's like their eyes are getting open that this is a weaponization against all of our rights. I've had things that are going on, and I really think that. People see through that. Any other time in history, you could go back and pick any indictment that he's gotten or anything that's happened, and they're done. Your political career is over. I take even myself as a businessman. I get they couldn't get my pass. So he's a crack guy. Yeah, I admitted it, though I said it right away, right? But you get a phone taken at a Hardee's drive-through. Everyone's going. And normally in a normal world, they say, "What crime did you commit, Mike? What did you do? Why did the FBI after you?" My buddy that was with me coming back for a hunt trip, he's scared to death. I'm going. What did I do? I want to be arrested, and they wouldn't arrest me. I mean, we're living in some weird times because of crazy times.
This is the terrifying reality of our current state, the current state of our country. The court of public opinion controls everything, basically. Mm-hmm. And so what's supposed to be innocent until proven guilty isn't anymore. Yeah, people watch you get arrested. They just assume the government is right and you're a bad person.
There are some polls, though, that have said that, Trump could win independence. A conviction could help Trump with independence in certain states. There was one from Emerson College.
I believe even more than that. I told him the other day, I said, you have a bucket here of common sense bucket. And I go around, I've got a thing. I just was in the heart of Chicago talking to Democrats here that voted for Biden. They're now voting for Trump. And I asked them why. I went around and asked them all why. I had 500 of them in a room. And you ask them why, there's different reasons. Well, one of the biggest thing is what they are economy right now and the border open and the fentanyl porn and things like that. But they're also looking at, as he's getting attacked, they're flipping into this bucket of common sense going, I told on his first indictment, I remember saying, his polls went up. And I said, man, you keep getting indicted, your polls, you're pretty sure you're going to have more votes than voters like Pennsylvania. They have more votes than voters every election in Pennsylvania.
Well, they're really good at what they do.
That's right.
It is wild, though. I mean, I think Trump has really struck a chord in the way that, progressive sort of activists in these ADAs and district attorney's offices couldn't have predicted. Like being somebody who is being sort of chased by the federal government, who is being persecuted on the level that he is, really won his hearts and minds of people, especially people who are not that interested in politics, but mostly they want the government to leave them alone. The idea that they would go after a former president who's also a billionaire in his home state is terrifying to anyone who doesn't have any means of fighting a corrupt judicial system.
And I live that. They come after me in my business just because I have a big platform out there. I know so many small businesses that have been just attacked, and they're done, with what's going on. They don't have a voice. They don't have a voice, and I think you're right. You've touched a chord with people out there going, what if it was us? Well, if they can do it there, they could do it here. I don't care what party you're in.
I like to point out Fareed Zakaria on CNN saying this case would not have been brought against a person whose name was not Donald Trump. Right. It's a really stupid way of saying they only brought this case because it's Trump. Right. But when CNN is saying that, regular people hear it. Yeah. And then when you hear stuff like this is why the AP is trying to cover up for the judge. Mm-hmm. Like this is the game they play. Guys, if for everybody watching this, I want to hammer this point in. I explain this all the time. Someone will claim something. Someone will say like, hey, I noticed a thing. The corporate press will slightly alter the claim and then at the very bottom explain that it was true the whole time. Mm-hmm. So the example I often give is Donald Trump will do a backflip, and land perfectly in front of everybody. Right. And then what Snopes and all these corporate press outlets will do is they'll write, did Donald Trump really do a backflip, ... on Sunday morning? False in big bold letters. Then it'll give you this huge 2-page breakdown, and at the very bottom it'll say, well, it is true that Trump did a backflip on Saturday. He did not do it on Sunday, when no one made that claim. And to exemplify this, we know for a fact the judge said the underlying crime can be one of 3 so long as you agree at least one of them was broken. Even if you don't agree that he broke all of them, or you're not even unanimous, it's fine to convict him on the first charge. What they've changed now is, according to the AP, they're saying the claim is that you don't need a unanimous verdict to convict Trump, when the claim was always you don't need to be unanimous on the underlying crime. Right. What they've done is they've created their own conspiracy. And what'll happen now is regular people, you'll be sitting at dinner. We've got the 4th of July coming up. You're gonna come to the family and you're gonna be at the lake drinking a beer and you're gonna be talking about this case. And they're gonna be like, no, that's fake news because I read in the AP. And then it's gonna be difficult for you to try to explain how the AP lied by creating their own fake argument. Mm-hmm. And then at the bottom of the article actually saying they don't have to agree unanimously on which crime was committed. It's incredible how they do this.
Yeah, absolutely it is. My personal experience with that, we were just talking before the show, I have all the journalists, I think every journalist in the world on my phone, and they'll attack and I'll write these articles. The headline will be, Mike Lindell did this or whatever, or we talked about the warehouse. Mike Lindell, my pillow's out in the street. The employees, they lost their warehouse. Well, then you read down through the article and then you get the truth at the bottom. But in the meantime, everyone's calling me up. They're going, what do? You're out in the street. You lost everything. Are you ashamed of what you stood up for? But that for me, I've used that as a way to get the word out even. And I was just saying, some of these journalists, I've actually become weird friends with them going, hey, you got to bash me a little more because otherwise your boss isn't going to print the article. It'll be too good. You know, I've done it before where I've had journalists from the New York Times and the Washington Post. I've given them my book to read. I read my book before I give them a long interview. Well, then they read the book and their articles are too good because they're torn. And they never got printed. The one for the New York or the Washington Post, I reshared it everywhere because it was like, wow, I can't believe it slipped by his boss, Oh, right. But my point being is, people now are even getting wise to the articles you describe because you see these headlines, but a lot of them aren't. A lot of them are still part of the brainwashing. Here's the headline, this is what the truth is, but the truth has been twisted so much by the news, and it's disgusting the way they twist it.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe, and we'll see you all there.